Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariane, and for those who don't know me, I recently finished a 2-year animation program, and throughout my time learning to become a better artist and animator, I've collected a few books that I believe have helped me a bunch. For today, I just wanted to share with you what books I have used in my personal journey to becoming a better animator, and just show you some of the pages inside of those books to hopefully encourage you to get some of your own to continue your journey of learning animation and art in general. And so without further ado, grab some coffee, some tea, some water, maybe hot cocoa, I don't know what you like, and let's get started. Alright, so first of all, I want to focus on the books that help me understand theory better. And so because of that, I'm going to be showing you the one, the only, Richard Williams, The Animator Survival Kit. Chances are, if you are into animation, you've already heard of this book. And yes, it is a very useful book. It covers a lot of technical information that is helpful when it comes to figuring out movement and how to break down a walk cycle, for example, a stride, a jump, how to swing your arms, how to move your legs, and it's definitely quite helpful. I do use it, especially when working on things like, standard stuff like walk cycles, if I want to understand the distribution of weight and the angles of your hips and your shoulders, different body types, even hand movements. It's incredibly helpful, and it's probably my #1 recommendation when it comes to buying your first book to help you understand the inner workings of animation. The second book I want to recommend for those of you who want to get into animation is Planning Character Animation, and this is helpful for both 2D and 3D because at the end of the day, the theory applies with any kind of medium that you're using, regardless of it being drawn by hand or animated through 3D means. And this book covers several things. For once, it gives you a nice look at just more gestural poses in a sequence to create movement for your animations. It also covers timing and spacing, which is incredibly helpful for understanding how to make things move more naturally, how to give them weight. And the Animator Survival Kit also covers this, but I'd say the approach of this book is a little bit more digestible. It's somehow, for me, seeing everything in stick figures and gestural drawings with really basic geometrical shapes helped me a bunch. So this would be my second recommendation for those seeking for those wanting to get into the animation world. If you have followed me or watched any of my videos previously, you know that I will always encourage people to understand classic human anatomy if they wish to get into character animation. And I do want to get into character animation. So this book by Valerie L. Winslow, it's a great resource for you to understand, okay, where are the muscles in someone's face and how do they affect the way that they move? Where are their bones and how do they interlock and function? What happens when we shrug our shoulders or point our toes? It's very important to understand the theory behind this because it'll just help you improve as an artist regardless of whether or not you want to get into animation. So I highly, highly recommend this book. It even covers some, proportions, which is important to understand if you want to create animations that remain on model and proportionate. And so this would definitely be my third recommendation if you're seeking to get resources for you to learn animation on your own or even prior to going to school. And this book was actually gifted to me, but I did find it extremely helpful as well. It covers a lot of the same things that the classic human anatomy book covers, but it does show different angles and close-ups of a lot more specific bones and muscles. So I highly recommend for you to perhaps get more than one anatomy book, because they might not cover everything. And this book really helped me understand how the anatomy looks from different perspectives, because the classic human anatomy is a little bit more just kind of like frontal shots of everything, and this one, as you can see, covers a little bit more angles, which is helpful to understand anatomy. Now we're moving away from theory and we're going more into inspiration and a little bit of entertainment as well. The Illusion of Life is a great book because it shows you a lot of the beginnings of the way things were animated and thought out at the beginning of Disney and its inception. It talks about the history of animation, and it's a little bit more to do with history, like I said, and seeing an evolution in the way that animations were created, specifically in the world of Disney. So it is a very entertaining and interesting book. It covers a lot of the history of Disney, and I think it would be naive to deny the impact that Disney has had on the world of animation, especially in the West. So if that is something that you perhaps might want to look at or get into, this is a book that I would recommend for you to check out. This book was gifted to me on my birthday by a friend, and it covers the art of monsters versus aliens. And I actually really like this movie. I feel like the stylization that they achieved and the mood that they were able to set with this movie is delightful. And so when my friend gave this to me for a birthday present, I was ecstatic. I really love seeing the pre-production and visual development elements that were thought out for this movie, and it's a book that I'd say is helpful for those who are looking to get into visual development and character design. It covers a lot of the illustrations that were made for the purposes of figuring out the style and mood of the film. And like I said, the spreads here are so fun to look at and to see how they built the sets, how they thought about the characters, and the storyboards even from this movie. So if you're looking to get into visual development, character design, storyboard, these types of books, and it doesn't have to be this movie specifically, but the art of a specific film that you like is always a great start for you to get into the world of animation and understanding how it works. Similarly, The Art of Zootopia is a great book to look at if you're interested in character design specific to animals and anthropomorphic animals at that. It also covers some landscapes, some sets. It covers some props and character design. This one is really fun, like I said, if you are looking to get into anthropomorphic animal design. And this is a different type of stylization as well. So it's very interesting to see the conception of the ideas that eventually made it into the film. This one has a lot of examples of visual development for architecture. It has a lot of examples of visual development for vehicles and props that you see on the screen during the movie, like these gondolas or these types of homes. And it also contains a few storyboard examples, so great acquisition. Great book if you're interested in those things. Finally, the last book that I've collected in my journey as an animator is The Art and Making of Arcane. And yes, this is an expensive book, and yes, it's hard to get. I waited like 3 months for it to arrive, and I waited until there was a discount for it. But this book, if you're interested in making films or short films like Arcane or a series, is incredible. It covers so much information. It covers a lot of information about League of Legends, which perhaps is something that a lot of you guys are interested if you are into the world of gaming and animation. But it also covers how they got to the point where they got through the years and how hard it was to get this project off the ground. It has storyboards, like insane storyboards. It has it even comes with some Easter eggs, like blueprints of the hex core or hex deck in general. It covers character design. It covers, like the other books, visual development, props and backgrounds. And it even covers a little bit of the 3D aspect of the project, which if you are into 3D animation is very interesting to look at. So I highly recommend this book as well. And you know, getting all these books is expensive, especially if you're a student. I know that not a lot of us have a big budget. Sometimes you can rely on getting books like this as gifts. Sometimes you can save money and buy them yourself. But there's also getting the books secondhand. There's also finding PDFs online. You don't necessarily have to buy the books, wink wink, if you know what I mean. Alright, well that wraps up the video. If you made it all the way to this part, I am impressed and thankful. And if you want to continue supporting my work, please leave a comment and a heart. And if you made it all the way, leave a cookie in the comments. And I'll see you for the next one. Bye!